I have been sick for the last 10 hours. I've been super bedridden, and today I couldn't help but just reflect on my life. I want to talk about a topic that I feel like is super uncomfortable for especially people my age or what I've gone through, but I feel like it's worth a share. I want to talk about what it was like to grow up as a first generation Asian American immigrant. When I was 5 years old, I moved to America from Philippines. My parents ended up divorcing quickly, and they always put me in good schools, and I realized, you know what, I'm not gonna grow up with a white picket fence in front of my house. My mom ended up remarrying. Me, my stepdad, and my mom actually shared a 2-bedroom apartment with a roommate. So me, my dad, my stepdad, and my mom shared 1 bedroom in that apartment together. You know what, honestly, we didn't have a lot, but I feel like we were still somewhat comfortable and happy in life. I remember growing up, I just felt so envious and jealous about certain families and some of my classmates because, I always thought, why not me? Why is my life so much harder than theirs? Growing up, something I took away from that was, you know what, if their family was able to obtain it, I know one day I'll be able to obtain it as well. But honestly, I want to bring up the fact, or maybe if anyone could relate, I was shamed so hard in grade school of not knowing the culture of what it was like to be in America. My English wasn't perfect, so I got bullied for having an accent. I mean, I was bullied because I didn't live in nicer houses than them, and I just felt like a lot of the kids here in America are always in competition with one another. And it's so crazy, people sell you this American dream when you come here to America. But you know what? I realized something about foreign countries, especially Asia and America, is that people here in America are not as family centered. And everyone here is kind of fighting for their own selves. I remember one time my mom was just using up all of her money that she made from her side job to put gas in her car because my school was so far, so I could actually attend a good school. And one day I asked my mom for a Subway and she told me no. I remember going to school that day kind of hungry, I'm not gonna lie. And I remember from that day forward, I just knew I did not want this to happen to my future family. Also, at least with me, my family didn't have a lot of money. So when my grandmother died, I actually wasn't able to fly back to Philippines because my mom only had enough money to buy herself 1 plane ticket, which was for her. And even then, she was borrowing money from other people to actually fly back home. I got to say goodbye to my grandmother on Skype, and I remember from that moment, I was like, I never want money to separate me and my family ever again. I know this is not the happiest story time, but I guess me reflecting today of just being sick and not being able to do anything, I've been feeling super unmotivated and anxious starting my first business. I guess I'm just making this video to remind myself that if I work 95% better than most people, I will be able to obtain whatever I want in my life, and hopefully I will never have to struggle and my future family will never have to feel the pain of having my family being separated because of money. I feel like not many Asian people talk about this because we're also taught to not really share our feelings growing up. My household was pretty quiet and we don't really talk about feelings, and I don't know about you guys, but I just feel like depression is not a thing that we talk about in Asian households. I'm in no way, shape, or form depressed, but I just want to hear if you guys could relate to my situation or if you guys have any similar stories that we could all share. Let me know in the comments if you guys went through something similar, because I just really want to know if I was the only one really struggling growing up, knowing that I wasn't from America.
Today, I saw a video of an American lady having an emotional breakdown after learning about the average Chinese people's lives and crying over the fact that as a single mother, she has been working many jobs and 60 hours per week with insufficient savings to support herself and her children. Xiaohongshu also helps us Chinese better understand the suffering of the working class in America. We used to believe that those who become homeless or addicted to drugs weren't trying hard enough. Now I know that no matter how hard those people worked, it didn't offer them the happiness they deserved. On the contrary, their lives only become worse without any hope. That really suck. Even more repulsive to me is capitalism, which keeps the wealthiest people in power while destroying the lives of the most honest and hardworking citizens. Xiaohongshu now is filled with American stories of how people had to drop out of university due to financial issues, how they could hardly afford a nice meal at a good restaurant for their children's birthday, and how they had given up hope and saw no way out of their agony. I mean, China isn't without its flaws. We have our fair share of problems. However, seeing how those decent and honest American working class people suffer makes me very sad and uncomfortable. Things are not supposed to be this way. I'm not sure what I can do to help. Still, I've written articles about China's healthcare, support for poor students, an educational system that ensures no children drop out of school, the everyday expense of ordinary Chinese people, and how homeless people are rare in China. I have included links to the articles below so that you can benefit from these first-hand resources. Probably that's all I can do. A lot of people want to know my favorite thing about China. My answer is poverty alleviation. Almost 800 million people, or over 75% of world's poor people, have been put out of poverty in China during the past 40 years. One of the worst things that can happen to a person is to be poor, because being poor takes away their hope, dignity, and future. The fact that China is helping its poorest citizens warms my heart. Here's hoping that the same may happen in the United States. And I also want to say sorry that I was being judgmental, that I think those homeless people or people are suffering was because they're not working hard enough. Now I learned it's not a fact, and it's mind-blowing, seriously. I saw how those Americans talking about their life, and I feel sorry and I feel sad because they're all hardworking people. I really don't know what we can do about it, but anyway, I hope everyone can be happy.
Guys, it's not just China. It's the rest of the world. The world. Do you understand that everyone in the world is figuring out that they've also been lied to about what we're dealing with here? And that we're the great, just wait until you hear the comments that I've been getting from the rest of the world. Okay, ready? Here we go. From Brazil, our private hospitals are much cheaper than theirs when they have insurance. They have to pay for things like holding their baby after birth. Yes, we do. There is a charge on our hospital bill. In Brazil, we have free healthcare and medication as well as universities, and we get 1 month of paid vacation from our companies. New Yorker here, born and raised and moved to the Netherlands, spent 7 weeks in the ICU, spent $300, was fed steak, salmon, veggies. The nurse came to me with an iPad menu. My kids have great daycare and school. I'm from Mexico. I lived 14 years in the USA. Is the truth that you don't have a life, you just work to live? I returned to Mexico and I'm 100% better. What? You pay for an ambulance? Damn. Love from Denmark. In Sweden, you only pay $140 for hospital bills. Once you've paid up to $140, it's totally free to go to the hospital. School and college is free, and they even pay you every month without having to pay back. Our ambulance services cost about $100 here in Canada, and it pisses me off because everything else is free, and you shouldn't even have to pay anything when you're in a health emergency. Come here for 1 weekend. Go to the hospital. See what that's going to cost you. I had my appendix removed in Belize, and with 4 days in the hospital, it cost me $37 for everything. Surgery, aftercare, medicine, meals, stay for 4 days, all of it. In most of Latin America, healthcare is free and education is even at the university level. But they are the developed ones with a laughing face at us. The rest of the world, LATAM and Europe, watching as only the Americans actually did not know about these things and that they were not joking. They're laughing at us because we didn't know any of this. We've been completely brainwashed. I'm shocked. We talk a lot about how countries like North Korea don't have access to the rest of the world. Makes me see that the US is the same. Europe here, I don't understand your bills either. My daughter broke her arm last month, x-rays, 4 follow-up visits, and pain meds. Total, 38 euros. Red Note is unveiling the facade of the United Slavery of America. Told a Chinese dude about medical costs, and he said, I finally understand Luigi now. Our government never talks about what life is like in the US. We usually get information from the beautiful portrayal of the United States by some intermediaries because they get very high profits, which leads us ordinary people to always think the United States is very advanced and life is very good. We really need direct dialogue between the people of the two countries to understand each other. How is it that when a house catches fire in China and the Chinese state covers you, but the US, you have to pay for the insurance and they don't help you, but it's mandatory and the US doesn't help you? Oh, just look what's going on in California. The American elites make you believe that you are free in democracy, but if they could, they would charge you for the air that you breathe. Tesla wanted to give you guys free energy. That's why they hid his research. Ooh, that's a very interesting one. I'm laughing at the Americans waking up, but let's not forget they were all a little sleepy. Wait till they hear about the third world, the Middle East, Russia, and Africa. North Korea, my daughter, I won't even tell you. Ooh, do I have to look up North Korea now? They're realizing that the war is not with the Chinese, but with their own government. Americans discovering that there are other nations, cultures, societies with technology outside of their borders. Be like, meanwhile, the US lives in an Orwell novel. Yep. Didn't you see all the guys in Congress that voted for the TikTok ban also just bought a ton of Meta shares? Wake up, America. Healthcare is free in most of the world. The US is a third world country. Even if you buy a home in China, you have it forever. You don't have to pay taxes or anything to keep it. So even if you lose your job, at least you wouldn't have to worry about your housing. Wish we could say the same. Identify as an animal. We're all humans. Why are they messing with the children? Great question. I showed them my property tax bill and they laughed at me. They asked me why I'm paying property taxes on the house that I actually own. Two parents working two jobs, shaking my head. It is like this in Russia as well. The US is a fake lie. Your country pays taxes for war. The USA government is forcing China to give the US citizens a different server on Red Note. Interesting. And this is not meant to be political at all. This is not a left or a right issue. This is the reality that we are living in. And I'm just so happy that the people are all coming together and having dialogue and not being censored by our media. And I think that that's such a beautiful thing. And I want to keep this going. We have to keep this going. Everybody keep talking. Everybody keep sharing about your lives. And I think we're really onto something here.
We don't have a lot of time, so I need you to share this video as far and wide as you can to bring these refugees back home. On July 15th, Liu Yang was detained while he was at work in Lansing, Michigan. He is a well-respected Hmong community leader and a refugee. And then on July 30th, there were a number of Hmong refugees who were detained by ICE when they arrived at a field office in downtown Detroit. They had received letters in the mail asking them to make an appearance for an interview. Many of them did not have legal representation. Many of you have been reaching out asking how you can help. And so I'm sharing this call to action from my personal page because there are things that I can't share on my official stateside page. So the first thing I need you to do is share this video, save it, comment at least 5 words, and double tap to like it. And make sure you are following this page. Your engagement helps to get this message out. There is a GoFundMe that has been set up for the families that have been impacted. You can go to gofundme.com and then look up Michigan Hmong. You'll see this first campaign and you will click on it and make a donation. Your contribution will go towards helping them pay for their legal fees, childcare, bills, and other expenses. The second thing that you can do is email the Detroit field office or call them 313-771-6601. You can also email detroit.outreach@ice.dhs.gov. While there are more refugees that were detained that I have not been in contact with, these are the ones that have been willing to come forward. So when you send an email or when you call ICE, make sure you ask them specifically to release these individuals. Their names are Liu Yang, Fu Yang, Su Feng Yang, Sai Vang, Panya Hang, Wakong Lor. All of these individuals are Hmong refugees. They fled war and persecution in Laos because their parents served alongside American soldiers during the Vietnam War and the Secret War in Laos. They were persecuted for being allies to America. There's also a rally happening tomorrow, Friday, August 8th at 5:30 at the Michigan State Capitol. Please join us to show support and stand in solidarity with these family members. They have lived here for decades. They have built their lives here. When all of the refugees were detained, they were taken to the North Lake Processing Center in Baldwin. Unfortunately, Liu Yang is the only one that is left at that center. The other refugees have been moved. They were taken to the Port Isabel Service Processing Center in Texas, and then just today they arrived in Alexandria, Louisiana. This is the final staging facility where they will stay until they board a plane to Laos. These individuals have never been to Laos, or they fled Laos because of war and persecution. These refugees that have been living in Michigan do not have a safe country to return to. Michigan is their home. This is where their families are. This is where their communities are. This is where their workplaces are. And this is where their schools are. Contact ICE to ask them to release these Hmong refugees, and ask ICE to stop detaining people and deporting them without due process. We don't have a lot of time. Now that these refugees have been sent to Louisiana, they have been put in the worst conditions possible. It is overcrowded. They are forced to sleep on the floor. There is very little food. Hunger is a real issue for them. Some of them require medication. They may be running out of medication if they haven't run out of it already. Thank you so much for your support.
I don't have a huge following, but I still feel a responsibility to say something. I've lived in LA for 4 years now, and what's happening with the ICE raids, the fear, the silence, especially from those within the Asian American community, has been really weighing heavily on my heart. I grew up in Queens, New York, around large Latino and Hispanic communities, and I've witnessed firsthand how deeply connected our communities are. A lot of Asian-owned businesses often rely on the labor of undocumented workers, often quietly, without any acknowledgement. And now, when the same people are being targeted, the silence is loud. It's painful. We come from immigrant families. We know what fear looks like, and we know what sacrifice looks like. And yet so many of us turn a blind eye when others are being targeted for the very reasons we're here. To those who are affected, I don't know what to say. I am truly sorry. You deserve to feel safe and you deserve to be seen. And to influencers, this moment calls for more than just posts about hidden gems in LA and food spots. If we love the city and its people, we need to show up for them too. If you have the privilege to post about where to shop in LA, then you have the power to say this isn't right. That is not political, that is just being human. I am not trying to call people out just to create noise. I am saying this because I care. This isn't about blame, it's about showing up. Speaking up doesn't require a perfect statement. It's honestly just about heart and showing compassion. And if you have a platform, even a small one like mine, it does matter. Be the voice for those who can't.